Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. Okay, today we're going to shatter some of the rumors that are out there. We're going to be talking about turning off your Amazon PPC campaigns. Is it possible? Should you do it? Well, stay tuned. And we're also going to be talking about how to set up a launch strategy that ends with you turning off your PPC. This is a first for me. Number two, do all campaigns stop or only just some? And then finally, what's the number one metric that allows this event to occur? So welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA e-commerce podcast. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot of back and forth in this conversation.
Lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm.
Okay, so when our guest was talking to me a little earlier today, saying what he wanted to talk about, it was like, are you serious? This goes against everything I've learned. And I know if anybody is listening who are, into PPC, you're going to be taken back a little bit. So we're going to be talking about turning off your PPC, your Amazon PPC campaigns, something that I was told from day one never to do. So we're going to find out why you can do it, how effective it is. But first, we're going to talk to a co-founder. He's been on the podcast many times. He's the CEO of Voltage Digital Marketing, and he's been launching, operating, and growing private label e-commerce businesses for over 9 years. And as of today, he and his clients have sold over $100 million plus in physical products, primarily through Amazon FBA sales. So our guest today is Neil Twa. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor. The Legion is your go-to community where you can learn, grow, and build your Amazon and e-commerce business. As you know, being an entrepreneur can be lonely. Now you can share struggles, build a network, and celebrate your successes. And guess what? Our community is free. All you have to do is head over to our Facebook group to join. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel at Private Label Legion, so you can stay up to date with tips, strategies, and advice from other experts in the industry. Okay, remember one thing. To get all this great information, follow us, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get automatic notifications. Okay, where is the boy wonder?
That's me. Hello, hello.
Look at that. Look at Mini Beard.
I know, it's coming in strong, right? It's going to be there.
That kind of reminds me, I should get one of those holsters and put you in it. It would kind of be like Mini Me.
I think we should kind of swap. I think you need like a little wig maybe, and we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Very good. Or just, maybe just a toupee. One of the funky looking toupees.
I like it. I like it a lot. Well, anyways, welcome to today's Lunch with Norm episode. This is another pre-recorded episode. We're not sure where we're going to be right now, probably taking a bit of a hiatus while we're doing some traveling. So same thing applies as usual, though. You can ask your questions in the comment sections, and we're going to do our best to post in the Facebook group and get some answers for you. And it's a great time just for conversation. I know this one is going to maybe ruffle some feathers when they first hear it. So
a lot of feathers.
Talk about it. You can feel free to chat in the comment sections, debate, whatever you want. This is your place to connect with other Beardos and share your opinions too. So make sure you get head over there. Also, don't forget to smash those like buttons. Give us a thumbs up. And you YouTubers, make sure you hit that big thumbs up button in the corner and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, our community, our Beardos, our Beard Nation, you can hang out with us. Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA and e-commerce collective Facebook group. So join there. That's where all the fun stuff happens. We're doing giveaways. We hang out with the community, ask your questions, share your advice. It's all happening there. So make sure you join and come hang with us. And we do have a great giveaway as well. So stay tuned for more on that. And we can jump into today's episode.
Okay, very good. So, like Kelsey was saying, if you do have comments or questions, and you'll have a lot of comments today, I know it's going to happen, but just throw them over in the comments section and we will get to them as soon as we can. So, sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy the episode. It will be controversial, and welcome, Neil.
Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it. With an intro like that, I'm surprised you're going to let me back on the show.
I just want to see. I've never heard what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
So when you said that, oh yeah, I can do it, and it's going to be, incredible, you piqued my attention. So all the comments goes to Neil. Okay, just Neil. Just send them all his way.
Dig in. I love a good controversy. We're going to be Mythbusters episodes today. For breaking and dispelling myths about Amazon. So many of them out there.
There are a ton. And this one, this is a solid one, because I've hung around with a lot of PPC people. They either have their agencies or are very good with PPC.
Right. And
something that they've always told me, and I do right now, I never, ever turn off or pause a PPC campaign. You're coming on saying, yeah, you can do that.
I'm the crazy man standing in the river yelling. At the end of this, it's going to sound a little bit weird, because look, if I had an Instagram agency, I would tell you Instagram traffic is the best traffic for your business, and I would run your Instagram traffic, and I would tell you all the metrics and the reasons why we're going to help and grow and scale your business with Instagram traffic. And oh, by the way, pay me for that. So, I'm not saying everybody does that. I'm just saying there's modus operandi. There is opportunity there. What I'm going to tell you is something that's a little antithesis of the market understanding. It has nothing to do with selling you anything. It has to do with educating on certain aspects of this engine, okay, that runs Amazon. And I talk about it a lot because it's things that people don't understand on scale. And when you get to certain levels of scalability, you start to realize there's pockets of information distribution and syndication within these platforms, whether it's Instagram, viral traffic on Facebook, or distribution of product and keyword ranking within Amazon's platform. When they want you to be rewarded with it and you're the most relevant, highest relevant converting product, they will distribute you out to more traffic. You might put this together with like the top 100 list to some degree, because a lot of people say top 100, that's where all the traffic is, and top of the listings, that's where all the traffic is. But to get to the top of the listings, what does it actually take, and how can something this crazy actually be sane and make it so that I'm not just crazy and not just standing on my own? I have case study after case study of folks who have done this, and most recently Keith and John are two people that just went through this experience. And it has a lot to do with the product, the listing, and the relevancy against the engine, and whether or not you're being rewarded. So much so that it's possible for you to dial down, and in even some cases, turn off your PPC advertising campaigns without losing ranking, and instead recouping 100% of the profits in your unit that was previously being, eaten up by PPC campaigns.
And you're going to be doing this all through organic traffic, just because the algorithm likes you.
There's traffic inside of Amazon, okay? And we all know that it's there, where it's the holy grail that we're all after. Right. So what's the difference between somebody who is able to get some of that traffic and someone who's able to get a lot more of the traffic? Right. My friend Matt Harward, who's very good at the DTC side, talks about the algorithmic nature of his experience with Facebook and how he was able to and is able to go in and compete with somebody who's maybe doing 2 million a year and thinks they're maxed out. It's all the traffic they can reach, and they're doing all their campaigns and everything right. And he can come into that same space and do 20 million a year. Okay. And how has he been able to repeat those results and show how he does it? Because he understands something that a lot of people don't. He understands the algorithm really well. And at the end of the day, you and I can each have a product we're competing on, Norman. We've used a little bit of this analogy in the past, and I'll bring it up again. We can each have a product we're going to compete. Let's call it the cheap Chinese bicycle seat. Okay. And if you and I both go in the market, we're both branded, private labeled, we're going into the market. There's going to be a differentiation between my brand and yours, and its relevance to the customer. And of course, how the algo sees us. How does your brand reach so much traffic and so much distribution? And how could mine receive 10 times more than yours? Right? What's the difference in the two if we're selling the same product, but we're in the same space? And the simple answer is, what does the algorithm look at to determine brand viability and ultimately the customer outcome? And it's called relevancy.
Right.
And so many people don't understand that what relevancy actually means to a AI and machine language learning. And without getting too mechanical, it just basically gets down to your product is being talked about more. Its relevancy in the engine is more, and your unit session is more relevant to the buying experience, which is literally customer to cart in 30 seconds or less. And knowing that it's going to get you in front of that customer that's already in demand and get them to buy your product faster than other people. When you hit that line, when that straight line from customer to add to cart to checkout goes, you will reach much more distribution inside of the system than your competitor. Even if you're running the same product in the same space, the relevancy will be different. I will receive more traffic than you. The outcome of that is that I can use PPC as a tool, like rockets launch one of the Elon Musk powered satellites into the air, one of the rockets. They don't keep rockets all the way through all stages of the launch. The rockets are just there to propel through the difficulty. And once they reach certain, the space, and once they reach a certain level of altitude, they fall off. Second stage boosters push them a little farther, and then they are up there spinning around 25,000 miles an hour. PPC campaigns can be done the same way with Amazon branded products.
Wow. Okay, so let's go back to relevancy.
Yes.
So we've got a mix that listen to the podcast from beginner, intermediate, right up to the advanced. Relevancy means different things to different people. Can you talk about relevancy and give some examples?
So relevancy, what I think and what you might think of it really aren't important. What the engine thinks of it is more important. What does the engine see as relevant to the product? It really gets down to the demand and the signals of demand, not only on Amazon, but on other platforms that Amazon is tracking for signals against that product, that niche, time of year, pricing, and other differentiations of that product, including the profitability of this unit being sold as a bike seat versus your unit being sold as a bike seat. Because remember, Amazon wants to make more money, right? So the relevancy of the engine really gets down to leading factors of indication that show that certain products might break out, certain brands might be able to get more distribution, inventory levels of about one brand is bigger than the other. And if Amazon's going to put traffic down on you, they know they're going to have a much larger, bigger campaign. So if, for example, one of those indicators of relevancy is, do I have 1,000 units and you have 100? All right, that's a different level of relevancy. Now, there are ways to kind of get the engine to believe different things at different times during the launch phase. So we can work within the terms of service, but literally it gets down to the engine checking off the different data points and validating that my brand is bigger than yours, my distribution capabilities are bigger than yours, the profitability of is it bigger than yours, and my unit session percentage conversion is higher than yours. I'm basically checking the box on the relevancy list so that distribution can occur. If I'm not checking all of those boxes, it will limit my distribution or syndication across the platform, meaning it will only show me to so much traffic and so much area. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But when you're looking for relevancy, what are the tools that you're using to give you this information?
So we've developed our own, and this is where it gets to be a little fun. There isn't a specific data set out there right now that matches what I'm telling you. We've actually created a data set called our most valuable product data set. And in there, we have looked at 48 different data points that also tie social signals, the data, the relevancy of the products currently selling in the market, products and brands we can bring in to compete with those current products in the marketplace, and all the signals that tie data points together to say, hey, this product, not that one. And when we look at that data set, it's based literally on the volume of sales we've done in our own companies and what our clients have done. And so it's gotten more and more robust. And pretty soon, what we're working on right now is another level of machine learning and AI that is going to go out and refine that even more by touching things we do manually, which are social signals out in the space of, say, Twitter or TikTok or Facebook or other locations that we look at as signals for trending of products, product types, not just where it's trending right now, but it's future trendability. So if you look at Amazon right now, you're taking a snapshot in time. You're not actually seeing what the future product opportunity of a product launch is. You're seeing the past opportunity of products that have already gone in the system. The real trick is to get in and understand, where are those breakout products? Where is my potential Instapot? How can I get in there ahead of a network or a push in there? And there's where the signals of social media come in. And we're going to try to tie some more technology to that to look at more leading indicators. And then, like in all things, I've said this before, we're going to test. Did we get it right? We're going to test the market, the audience, the conversation, and then the add to cart to Amazon to see if we got it right. Once we do that, the data will tell us exactly where to go.
So before you do any of this, it's important that your listing is done to the nines. Right?
What is the most relevant metric that allows something like this to occur? And it is your unit session percentage. It is the unit session percentage of you on mobile and desktop. Okay. Determining whether or not you can beat and sustain competition over a certain amount of time based on who's already in the market and bringing something new to the market. All right. Because Amazon understands that you are bringing a new product. You've got new health in your account, maybe a new product altogether, maybe your first product in a brand new account. And they understand that they don't want to just squelch you because you might become the next up and coming bestseller. So they don't want you to lose. I know people feel like that at times with Amazon. They don't want you to lose. So what they've done is they've gone and literally got an engineering team at every level within Amazon's node base. And they basically have pulled together literally anywhere between 50 to 100 bots. This is public information. They've got it on their channels. You can go look this up, that are running around inside of there saying, is this new brand and product capable of beating one that has 1,000 or 5,000 reviews already on it, or different reviews? Can this product show that it has capability? If we give it distribution, if we give it space, if we give it traffic, if we give it visibility, could it potentially beat the one with 2,000 or 3,000 reviews in it? And if all the signals show up correctly, then it will give more traffic. And if you maintain that unit session percentage, you maintain the conversion rates, and you maintain, obviously, good products bring great reviews. As that comes forward, then the engine will feel validated and send you more distribution. If it does not, it will limit your reach.
Okay. And I know that we've talked before about reviews.
Yep.
And you mentioned in the past that you really don't care about reviews because, a matter of, I think you said that, and I'm an old guy, so my memory's kind of going, but I think you even said you don't care if you have a single review. You'll compete against anybody that has hundreds, if not thousands.
Because we're talking about an engine. At this point, the engine says, you have a product. We don't really care what that product is at the moment. What we care is, do you match with a potential breakout product that is going to benefit us? That's it. And at this point, the reviews aren't telling them that, right? Because they know organic reviews will eventually validate that you're a good product. What they're looking at is all the signals of saying, do you have a potentially good to great product? That's all they're looking for. So what this does is, if we were to follow this down the bad path, let's say for a second, so we can understand what the good path would look like. The bad path would be, I launch a cheap piece of Chinese crap and I do all the things right. Well, eventually signals and time and market and reviews eventually are going to show my product isn't that great. My life cycle is going to go like this, and then it's going to start tapering off and fall down. It's just going to go, because eventually bad products will catch up with you, right? But it didn't mean you didn't do anything right at the beginning. It just means you didn't do things right at the middle or secondary stage, let's call it. And you did some things wrong at the beginning, because don't launch a cheap Chinese piece of crap. We've talked about that before. Don't launch Me Too products, right? Build a better than or a great product.
Right.
And then the engine will literally reward you. So the end result is, combine the beginning, the ROI will come a little bit longer. That's how private label works. But with the ducks in a row at the very beginning and relevancy to the product and the engine, the reward will be much greater. And no, don't need the reviews at the very beginning. The reviews are something that comes in secondary. What we need to do is basically tell the engine what it needs to know in order to reward us. And you can do that regardless of product. That's kind of the important factor to understand. If my product looks really well, Amazon still doesn't even know I have a great product yet. They didn't check the product. All they did was check it in at the warehouse. All they did was send it through the system. Nobody looked at this and actually said, this is a great product. Let me reward this brand with a great product inside of a seller health account. No, that's not how this works. But everybody somehow thinks that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
I remember when you first said that. So you're just a man of controversy.
I'm going against the norm. I'm myth busting.
Yes, there we go.
Why am I myth busting? Because I have seen things that many of them have not. I have seen brands to grow to 1 million a month in less than 90 days. How is that even possible, right?
Yeah.
Because the products haven't even yet fully been vetted by the marketplace. They were vetted by the audience conversation and stuff we had prior to going market. And then Amazon's algorithm basically rewarded that audience and conversation that was already occurring, because demand was already there, and all the engine wants to do is fill demand. And there are quite a few places inside of Amazon where demand is nowhere matching the capability or the amount of sellers that can move that product. When you step into that demand, it will reward you immediately and then want to try to prove you as the best product because it wants to meet the demand. When it meets the demand, what does Amazon get? More sales, more customers, happy buyers, etc. That's their model, right? But they're only going to double check you on the backside if you've got a bad product and ding your seller health account or get A to Z, depending upon how you're selling, or any of the other negative things, including bad reviews that can occur, or product mishaps that can occur, all the other things we've seen happen on the backside. But what we're talking about is all the important things on up the front, because we're making a big assumption. We said it, I'll say it again, that we have a great or better than product setting on the sideline ready to go, right? And that product is available, not even checked by Amazon, other than they might want to qualify that you're not a hazardous chemical or have pesticides or whatever. But other than that, no one is manually going in and saying, this is a great product, give this more traffic. That's not how this works. So when you understand that, then you recognize there's an engine. And there's an engine that's trying to sell more products.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. If Amazon can sell a product and get more profit, then they're going to promote it. And what you're saying, just sitting back, it's completely logical.
Just because it actually happens. I'm talking about theories.
Yeah.
He went through 1,000 units after launching, shut off his PPC, and tried to slow down the sales before his next order came in, but actually found his organic went up. His profitability obviously came back completely because there was no PPC, and he was ranking and selling. And he's like, holy crap, I can't get the product fast enough. He didn't think it was going to occur. We watched it occur. And he's a case study of that literally just happening. John did the same thing. John got his product up, has struggled with the unit session percentage a little bit, kept working to get that conversion up. As he did that, PPC costs came down, organic ranking went up. He shut off his PPC campaigns. Everything kept going. Everything is just trending upwards. Okay. Bry did the same thing. Bry was one of the other examples I used. He came in with the product. It was right in Amazon's slipstream of relevancy with all the checkbox clicked off. And so the engine just said, hey, you're the product we want everybody to see. And up went the traffic, no reviews, no PPC was on for the first 5-7 days. He turned it off, right? He actually turned it off for the same reason Keith did. He was going to run out of inventory faster than he anticipated. And it's great. He came back and later on said, why didn't you tell me this? Why wouldn't you tell me this was occurring? And I'm like, dude, how many times can I say the same thing? And so the end result was, he's got his next order in. He just went back. He's back to $8,000 a day sales and growing quickly. Daniel experienced the same thing. So I have one thing after another. I'm not working on theory. These are actual working examples and models of doing it and playing correctly with the algorithm that's in Amazon.
Yeah, and that was interesting because when you were talking about this at the beginning, one of the first things I asked, do you have a case study? And well, yeah, which one do you want?
That's how we do our launches.
Right.
It's part of how we validate that the product has the capability for, you can call it distribution. People call it syndication. The internet DNS world term like propagation. It's how things move out across all the servers once they've been validated. And Amazon, at one point, we tested it out. It had about 25 different algorithms working at any one time on the platform. And you could go in and see each of those algorithms was doing minor and major testing at different level. It culminates down to around 21. Actually, what was that the other day? Like 1,200 or so, or maybe it's 2,100. I forget. Between 1,200 and 2,100. I've got to get the exact stat. Actual split tests that they do all throughout the entire year, right? In which they're trying to optimize the engines. And it literally is all revolving around the main core component of the same engine that's been running for the last 9+ years. But all these other components are just going around the nodes and other sections and trying to determine that new products that are entering do not get destroyed by existing products that are there and give fair market competition to the products that are coming in. Otherwise, they know they'd be sued for antitrust. And this came up here just recently about Amazon being able to run its own shipping supply and storehouse. And the government was literally saying, well, that might be an antitrust violation because now you're going to destroy UPS and Postal Service and all this stuff. And we're like, no, that's free market capitalism. Don't do that. But anyways, the point is that the distribution will be there. The capabilities are there. Once the certain algorithms reward you, it literally just tells the rest of the system, propagate and distribute out. This is the product that needs to be seen. And then you can get more traffic than you have product for.
All right. So let's just go through this again because my head is, kind of, again, yeah. I'm an old guy, but let's go through that setup. So how do you set up a launch strategy that ends with turning off your PPC?
So one of the things everybody wants, and I know this is a big thing, I guess. I don't know what it is. It's a big thing in the internet world is, a product that launches and in 30 days, I can expect my lottery mindset home run.
Right.
Okay. That's not what we do. Our run is over 90 days. All right. So over a 90-day period, and we developed the launch processes over like a long time ago, and how we strategized through this whole process of getting a product and dancing correctly with the engine. And it's extended from 30, 60, and 90 days as Amazon's changed its brand management, it's changed its process of rollout, it's changed brand identity and validation of products, including making sure you can launch a product with a provable image that has, an actual image of your product, not just a Photoshop one. And they've changed and made some of this a little bit more cumbersome for reasons of, integrity in the business and the model, and making sure people aren't jacking with the system. But that is the expectation, 90 days of a product launch. So I set that with every person we do a product launch. So they already are set up to understand that in time and market, ability for the PPC campaigns to take hold, and then, see those PPC campaigns and all organic and traffic rolling up over the next 45 days and then 60 days, and watching all the trends or adjustments that they need to make, those micro adjustments they make to continue to split and test that landing page to ensure conversions are going up. Bride is an example that didn't go right to market with a 30% conversion rate. Went to market with a 3% conversion rate. But over the course of his 30, 60-day launch process, by the time he got up closer to 90 days on one of his products, he had a 30+% conversion rate. And the reward was that at that point, his conversion rates in organic were overtaking, and he started to walk back his PPC campaign. But everything was starting to continue to trend up because he was becoming the best selling product with the highest conversion over the longest period of time in that market. If you go to market against me and I'm going in that launch cycle and process, what would be the outcome that you would expect? If we're competing head to head and you're doing anything to try to force the algorithm to say you're better, or try to force the metrics, or try to force the marketing, or trying to get your reviews pushed, or anything out in the market that could be considered by Amazon's algo to not necessarily be nefarious, just be manipulation, accidental, purposeful, whatever. Okay. Coupons, discounts, etc. I'll win and you won't. Right. So it's a matter of understanding, what is it going to look at? What are people currently doing? And study who's hacking and who's jacking with all the stuff. Don't do what they're doing, but understand that what they're doing is forcing the algo to go through these processes of validation. And if we step through them the right way, we get through the gates faster. Right?
Very
we get
good.
through the gates and the vetting faster. And it takes us 90 days to do something. You're going to push in 30 to 45 days to accomplish something. In the end, we're going to be seen as the winner, and you're not.
Fair enough. Okay. So before we go any further, listeners, I'm really curious. I wish we were live right now, but I'm curious, if you've had any experiences like what we're talking about. Have you ever turned off your PPC? And then,
right,
I want to make sure that you're doing what Neil was talking about, relevancy. How important have you been looking at your listings and judging it based on relevancy? Now, we don't know all the checkpoints that Neil has, but there are certain ones, like he was talking about, that you can check to make sure you have a relevant listing. So put your comments in there, put your questions in there. I guarantee that there's probably a bunch of questions in there already.
You know who's going to be most pissed off at me, right, Norm?
Who's that?
Well, the agency runners for PPC campaigns, to tell you they have to market your campaigns and you need a PPC management expert. None of my mentors run PPC marketing company campaigns. They run a template strategy process using AI to back up what they're doing, and they check it maybe 1 to 2 hours a week. That's it. And once it follows the metrics, that's all they have to do. They don't need an agency. And in fact, the ones that come in with agencies, we fire them immediately and then show them exactly what to set up to do. And then they don't need an agency after that.
Okay, so I see more comments coming in right now.
They're going to be the ones that, what are you talking about? You're out of my gun. No, I'm empowering the CEO operators of the world to do these things. Right. And that's the point, is that you don't need to do that.
Okay, so we are also with this, the comments that are going to be happening. We're going to be having a Will Kelsey today, and we're doing this a little bit differently. If you're interested in joining the Wheel of Kelsey, we've got a new little twist on it, and that is #Wheel of Kelsey. Tag 2 people, get a second entry. But what we want you to do is also enter #Neil Twa. And if you're looking for the right spelling of his name, it's on the screen. So #Neil Twa. And that will get you into
Right
the
on.
giveaway today. And the giveaway, so if you've been listening from the start, this is crazy. And we're even going to get crazier after this. But Neil, what's up for grabs today?
So guys, one of the things that we're going to have you, some of you asking is my campaign, or how would I get my campaign or my product into a position where I could take advantage of this kind of a launch or business strategy using PPC and what we talk about today? So the answer would be spend some time with me. So I'd love to go through your campaign and your product, give you some pointers on product to campaign ratio, and show you where you might take pointers and do next steps to put yourself in a position to do that, or teach you a couple of strategies you can deploy with a new product. So if you guys want some time with me to go over your campaigns and your products and show you a little bit about what we do and give you some insights into that, I would be happy to spend some time with you and go through your products and campaigns and go through them with you.
Fantastic. So one lucky winner is going to spend some time with Neil, and he's going to share some of his insights with you. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, get a second entry. And for the first time, hashtag Neil Twa, and that will get you into the wheel tag. If you do not put hashtag Neil Twa, you will not be entered. Okay. All right. So Kelsey, can we have another word from our sponsor? A big thank you to our sponsor, Startup Club, the largest club on Clubhouse with over 790,000 members and growing. They're one of the world's largest communities supporting the startup ecosystem, from founders to those wishing to work for a startup and everything in between. You can find them at www.startup.club for blogs, recordings, and a calendar of upcoming shows, and on the Clubhouse app. Just search Startup Club for daily shows 24/7. You can also now listen to their show, the Serial Entrepreneur Club podcast, on Apple and Spotify too. Stop by to connect, learn, and grow together. All right. So, Neil, when you turn off your campaigns, when you get to that point, do you turn them all off or just certain campaigns?
You could turn them all off. We did a case study in our group just about a little over probably 6 or 7 months ago now, if memory serves me correctly, where we took a $30,000 a month spend and shut it off completely. And then we showed them the difference in relevancy and what occurred and why the product stayed the same and why the marketing stayed the same. And so we actually went through that. So the answer is yes. Your choice, of course, to what level you want to go. If you turn them all off, you might just leave your branding ones on, your targeted keyword search brand campaigns. So people who are finding you or finding your particular product above others. But for the most part, the goal here, again, is maximum relevancy and syndication or distribution from the algorithm. Whereas I don't have to necessarily force it through PPC. I can actually get there through organic search within the system and be rewarded as the most relevant product. So as the analogy went from the Matrix Neo, it's not that I dodged the bullets. It's that when you're ready, you don't need to dodge the bullets. And that's one of the ways we learned how to do this in the past. And now we teach people how to do it in the future.
It is fascinating hearing what you're saying, because you're constantly hearing that it's all pay to play with Amazon right now. It's very tough to do the organic ranking, to get that traffic coming back. It's all pay to play. And what you're saying is, again, it's fascinating to hear something different.
There is a pay to play opportunity. Do not get me wrong with what I'm saying. Could you add additional capacity, add visibility, add awareness in the system from PPC? Absolutely. That's what it's for. That there's no argument. It's a tool for syndication and distribution of your product in a paid format. Okay. It's the same difference on Facebook or other social networks. Okay. Where I can go in and pay for traffic on an account I currently have no distribution on. Okay. By the same token, I can go into those accounts. I can spend time and energy working within the algorithm, making campaigns or products viral, videos viral, post viral, boosting my account, doing, TikTok ads or whatever. Excuse me, not TikTok ads, but TikTok videos and stuff to get organic traffic and curate an audience that way. It takes a little bit longer, but my traffic distribution can be even higher or larger later on than I could pay for that traffic. It's no different in that way. The end result and the final point is this is an algorithm. And at the end of the day, the algorithm is looking to get as close as possible to non-manipulated results that show the biggest demand for the customer met as fast as possible by the product that checks them out of the cart and moves them to that next metric which is Amazon's $1,000 a year customer lifetime value for its 100 million Prime members. That's one of the metrics they're looking at, and that's one of the metrics I want to go after.
All right. Now, the other side to this is, do you ever turn your campaigns back on?
Yes. So when would I turn it back on? In the instance I might lose some algorithmic ranking, organic ranking, or things might start to tone back down, I can simply turn those campaigns back on. Once I'm back into position, once I'm back up in ranking, I can shut them off again.
Okay. And I guess the other thing I want to dive a little bit deeper into this is you've already mentioned it, but the number one metric.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about that again, and how can we ensure that you're constantly making that better?
Well, so many people I hear, and you may hear this too, because you're in the news and you got your nose down on the ground and people are talking all the time, but it's mobile versus desktop a lot right now. And one of the things we predominantly switched over to is full mobile assessment, full mobile analytics, unit session percentage, and driving to that mobile audience, right? And because they are the most in demand, they're also easier to track through apps and other things. So Amazon can track the multi-apps, its app, and data as long as you allow it permissions on your app, so they can start seeing trends and social trends across mobile applications faster. And they're using that data, right? They're using that data within their trend and their engine. They can look at things, and to give you an example what that looks like. Most of the highest branded TikTok beauty people who are doing videos and other stuff are also represented by the same amount of brands on Amazon. Why do you think that is? Amazon's watching the social trends, right? Amazon's not only watching the social trends, it's rewarding that traffic and that viral traffic for brands that are taking a concerted effort to drive brand, right, above anything else, and looking at the social signals of those products and trying to also determine how to adjust algorithmic in order to keep up with market demand. And social signals are a big component of that, right? And I think a lot of people miss that, and it's a part of that relevancy.
All right, very good. Well, I guess listening to what you're saying, listening to you were talking about case studies, I do want to touch on those case studies, because you mentioned a few here and there.
Yep.
But give us some of these success stories that you've seen.
Well, look, so at the beginning of this, getting started and launching a product, when you're new to the process and you're learning how to do this, you have less fear of the repercussions of turning your PPC campaigns off versus someone who's been in there for 6 months or 12 months who's listening to me right now going, I couldn't imagine turning my PPC campaigns off right now, Neil. That's insane. Why would I do that? Right? Because your fear kicks in and says, what's going to happen? None of my people have that fear out of the gate. It's all been removed from them from the very beginning. So their expectation is PPC takes on a whole different aspect of the tool set that they're using for rankability and movement within the business. They are looking at it from a totally different perspective. So when we do that, yes, in the case of Keith and Bry and Patrick, and who else did I name earlier? One of the other people I named a minute, Keith, Bry, Patrick, who else did I just say? Dawn. They were new. They had experience in other ways around business, not necessarily e-com. Like Keith, for example, he spent millions of dollars on PPC campaigns in Google AdWords. Okay. So he's understood traffic. He understands buying and media. And so for him, it's like, ding, I'm going to get PPC down in Amazon like nothing flat. So when I get my product, because I've been selling other people's products as part of an agency, I've not actually sold my own branded products, which is why he came on board, was that he wanted to see how to take that experience he had over here and run it in products. Okay. Ryan Floyd was the same way. He's launching his right now, but Keith got ahead of him. And Ryan will experience the same thing because he runs PPC campaigns for Amazon companies. Now he's launching his own brand. So this is going to be fun to watch. I'll come back and do a case study on that one later. So Keith, in essence, was like, okay, I know that traffic and PPC, I'm going to master this. I can get it. It has a keyword aspect. It has a lot of traffic similarities between Amazon and Google. And the reason that, you and I both know that is in 2015 through 2017, they hired away a lot of Google engineers to turn Amazon's PPC into basically Google AdWords. And so a lot of the similarities of algorithmic changes and virility in the PPC campaigns and stuff all tie together, a lot of similarity. The end result is Keith, went in there and he set up his campaigns like we told him to do. And then he was thinking he had to do a lot more. But when the product started to sell and he had a very good conversion rate, 30+% on his product, he had 1,000 units of it that he went to market with. It was all predefined, we basically helped him with the whole component of that. And then we just told him at some point, you're going to shut off your PPC campaigns. He's like, well, that's nuts. Like, again, he's a PPC guy. He's like, why would I shut off the PPC campaigns? And so he figured it out really quick. And for him, As the product went out 30, 60, 90 days, and he went through those products. Now you were saying, well, he didn't sell 1,000 units in the first 30 days, Neil. He's a failure. No, remember, I want to validate the market over time because my goal is to be the disruptor in 24 months. It is to be a brand that now disrupts a niche in the marketplace. It becomes a unique brand identifier so that I can exit that business at 24 months. Remember, so my goals and objectives are very different than I think a lot of people approach this model. So I have a different way of looking at it. And that's where Keith came in and understood that. So he was turning his PPC campaigns off, and then he was dumbfounded because they just kept going up. And he's like, I need to raise my prices. I'm running out of units before I can get my next order in. So he raised his prices. Well, it kept going up. The algorithm was winning because his campaign was super dialed in, hyper relevant to his keywords, targeted to his listing, targeted to the product, and right in line. Okay, a straight shot from customer to cart. And when that occurred, the reward was there. He's getting, a few thousand more units in right now as fast as he can. And he knows exactly what's going to happen when he turns back on the PPC and boosts his back up to market, and he'll shut it off again. It's literally already winning in the marketplace. And there's a metrics. It starts again with USP.
Okay. Now, what about budget? And I know asking you this is, how long is a piece of string, right?
Don't ask me about budgets, because my budget for this type of model is going to be very different than the average listener. The average listener is going to say, oh, I only can spend $50 a day. Okay. Here's where you will probably lose against me in the market when I go to compete with you in the niches. And be aware, there are a lot more people like me, okay, who are coming and learning how to do this. I will spend, here's the answer to your piece of string, whatever it takes for me to become the dominant niche with my PPC engines. I am not going to underpower my engines if my goal is to reach Mars. Everybody wants to say, okay, I'm going to strap this big, beautiful, what's going to become my $1 million rocket with a couple of, C9 engines from the RC hobby store and expect to get that rocket into outer space. You've already lost. You understand?
Yeah.
When you're coming to the market, it is and should be expected. I will do what it takes to put that product into market. Here's the number one thing I always hear, Norm, constantly. And as people come in and they're like, my products aren't working and I can't get my PPC to work, the number one question I ask is, were you making sales? And guess what their answer was?
I'm
yes.
not sure. Okay. Yes.
I'm making sales. Right?
Yeah.
Are your sales profitable? No. Okay. So what kind of problem do we actually have here? We have a product market segment problem, and we have a brand problem. We don't have a PPC sales problem. And everyone always argues about the PPC sales problem. It's not within ACOS. My TA cost isn't working. And they're missing the big point. Are you making sales? The answer is yes. And it happens almost 9 out of 10 times. Yes, I can make sales with my campaigns on my product, but they're not profitable. Do you see the problem with this?
Yeah.
There's an opportunity there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I hear a lot of this myth busting crap out here. We're going to be myth busting some more. That it isn't that I can't make sales and PPC doesn't work for my products. When in actuality, you're wrong. That's a scarcity mindset. Abundant mindset says, can I make sales with my products in the PPC campaigns that I have? And if the answer is yes, but they're not profitable, you have other problems to solve first. Do you see why PPC ends up not being such a big deal for us?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep, it makes sense.
Because they are literally arguing over the cart when I'm riding away in the horse.
And one of the other things,
they're answering the wrong problems. They're overcoming the wrong objections. They're working on the wrong revenue generating activities.
One of the other things I see too is the actual unit sessions that, I'm like you said, I'm making sales, but they only got 100 people going over to their product over a period of a month. Right. Now they might have high conversion rate, but they've got to beef up those unit sessions. So they're in the thousands, hopefully, or tens of thousands. Any suggestions there?
So if you're in the tens of thousands of sessions, but not making the same amount of sales, if I heard you correctly, or the conversions are
no. So let's say that this happens quite a bit. Okay. I'll take a look at a product, or somebody talks to me about their product. I'll ask them about their unit sessions. They're making sales.
Right.
Usually their conversion rate is fairly good, but they're only 100 or 200 or 300 unit sessions. So it's not hard to get 20% or, 25%. It's not accurate.
It's not accurate.
So what I look at and what I say to the people is we've got to increase your unit sessions. So, either by driving traffic somehow over to your listing. So for me, it would have been PPC, Facebook, Google, social media, whatever it is, to get extra eyes on the product.
Interesting. Okay.
And then if you're not selling, then we've got a much bigger problem.
Okay. I tackle it a different way. So obviously 1,000 unit sessions, or not obviously, let's say 1,000 unit sessions actually becomes more statistically relevant. In that, I don't actually look at the amount of sessions. What I look at is called the click to sale ratio. How many clicks per sale am I achieving? Our goal is to dial it down to the point where you have 10 clicks to 1 sale ratio. When you're relevant, when you're hyper relevant for your keyword and you're in line with the product and in line with the algorithm, that is a metric you can maintain. And to maintain that, okay, is an old phrase borrowed from many years ago called rob the train, where you can literally go in like gangbusters and just rob up all the traffic that's in the market. Once you dial in those particular click to sales ratios, I don't care about the impressions at that point. I care about how many times people are clicking by the time they purchase. Why? Because Amazon cares about that too. Mm-hmm. Amazon's algorithm cares. If it's too many clicks, but not enough purchases, you back that up into non-converting unit session percentage.
Right.
So that's where this matters the most. So if I'm going to dial in more impressions, I'm actually going to lower my unit session percentage if my click to sale ratio is not dialed in. So if I go out and get additional traffic from any other location, I'm actually hurting myself. I have to first optimize within the organic results of Amazon, and then it will positively see any other traffic or any outside referral traffic coming in, if it's brand referral links or otherwise, to my store. So much is missed on Amazon within its own algo. And people are fighting it, and they don't even know they're fighting it because they just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, prior to today, this whole concept, well, I guess at the end of the day, at the end of the podcast, it's going to be red pill, blue pill, if you want to stick with the matrix, right? It's going to be, it'll be interesting to see, because are people willing to listen to what you had to say, even with the backup of the case study, and click, like once they have everything in place, to click that off switch?
Let's ask, what's the worst that can happen? Now, I'm not suggesting somebody goes in today, just for total transparency, based on this podcast, results will vary. There's my disclaimer, okay? If you go in and shut off all your campaigns today because you listen to this podcast without being smart about what you're doing or what you're tracking, you may see a negative outcome. Just to be very clear, you need certain things to be in place before you do that, and you need to know how to replace them or put them back in place. So you actually need to understand this strategy in its entirety, okay? At the end of the day, should you turn them off or back them down, you need other indicators of your listings, organic search, USP to stay up or move or continually move upwards as you back them down. Don't just go in and shut them all off, right? Immediately. Just don't click off and walk away. If you feel the fear and do it anyways, and you say, well, what the hell? Let me go see what happens. I'm not selling a whole lot of this anyways, and I'm not really confident it's making a whole big deal. Shut it off, wait 72 hours and see what happens. If it goes negative, turn it back on. If it stays positive, leave it alone. Let it ride for another 72 hours and watch. This is a patience game with Amazon. The algorithm usually takes about a 72-hour turn on major organic distribution and propagation changes before you'll even see some of the major results of your actions. People are too impatient with those kinds of things, right? You need to wait and see what happens. And then when it's positive, you make a smaller change. If that's positive, you make another change. If that's negative, you put it back. And this is where patience in Amazon makes a big difference. And because we're going over 90 days, everyone learns the steps of this process. Bry was another case study. Again, he came in at 3%. He launched his PPC campaigns. They started to dial in, but their click to sale ratio was not over the target. So he went back to the drawing board and started to change and change. So he got to 6%, 9 and 12 and 15. And pretty soon he was on his way to 30%. Of course, the repercussions and the benefit, the reciprocal benefit of that, better way of saying this, is that his rankability went up, his products and everything went up, his traffic went up. And as he backed his PPC campaigns back down a bit, profitability came back up, right? And yet organic traffic and growth kept going up. the metrics were now better in line with what the algorithm expected for his product in his node, his niche within Amazon, based on what his competition was selling. He was becoming more attractive to the algorithm. It's all algo driven. You can get all the emotions you want in this. But if you don't know, if you don't know what to test, you don't know what you're going to do. Don't just go in and put a blanket kill on it. Understand what metrics and things are going to occur, and then look at it as a possible strategy to resolve what you're doing. Last point, again, if the product is not in line with the system, it doesn't matter what you do at this point. If you're able to make sales with PPC, that is not your problem. If it is not profitable, that is not your problem. You understand?
That is a very good point.
That's it. Blue
All
pill,
right. So
red pill.
And I do want to stress this. I know a lot of people will have selective hearing.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Please go back, listen to what Neil was talking about. There are certain things that have to be in place. We talked about relevancy. We talked about the listings, and then enter this. And he said something that was testing. I think you said 1,200 times you've tested it over a 90-day period before you get these. Before you've, go ahead.
Just to clarify where that number came from, so we don't misrepresent it. You're over the target, but it's Amazon that tests 1,200 times a year.
Okay, sorry, stand corrected.
That's okay. Yeah, that would sound like we will test a lot, but I don't think it's 1,200 in 90 days. But we may make a lot of changes in 90 days to get that dialed in. Yeah,
I was going to say you must have a heck of a team if you do it 1,200 times.
We have other ways of testing with. This will be another podcast, but it's coming soon to talk about the ways we test audience conversations before we go on Facebook, go from Facebook over to Amazon. We'll talk about that later. But look, I'll throw this out here, not to get you off topic.
Yep.
If one of my guys is willing to come chat about this and prove the case study in their own language, would you have them on as a guest?
100%.
Okay, I'll see which one of them is available to come speak, and we can get them on here, and then maybe some people will listen to. We'll see.
That's fantastic. That is, I'd love to do that. I'd love to have a conversation with one of your guys.
Awesome.
Neil, a little controversy today. A little controversial, but what's a podcast without controversy?
It's just a Tuesday. What's a Tuesday?
Yeah, what the heck? Anyways, it has been a pleasure having you back on. I always look forward to talking with you. You're always amazing, and we'll have to get you on again, and I can't wait to talk to one of your team.
Awesome. We'll do it.
All right, Neil. Well, you have a great day, and everybody with your mouse dropped, I hope you have a second listen to this podcast, because what Neil's talking about is something very unique. I've never heard a single person talk about what he's talking about. So opportunity he has, and he said, here's a disclaimer. It's up to you, red pill, blue pill. But anyways, that's it for today. How are we going to handle the Wheel of Kelsey today, Kels?
So we'll do some fancy edits and we'll cut over to the Wheel of Kelsey. And by now, we already have a winner. So congratulations. So I'm here live. I'm watching with you guys. If you guys didn't notice, this was a pre-recorded episode, but we are still doing our giveaway today, and that's why I'm here. So let me just play the Wheel of Kelsey. Enjoy, everyone.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right. So thank you, everyone, for entering today's Wheel of Kelsey. If you guys didn't notice and you entered, you need to have both hashtags. That is hashtag Neil Twa and hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. This is a new thing we're trying out. We just want to make sure that the people that enter the contest know what the contest is about and what giveaway is happening, and they actually want the prize, because it's been happening a couple of times where people were entering at the beginning of the show. They had no idea they either won or what the prize was, and then they didn't use the prize. So this just helps us make sure that this goes to what we're going to. And since this is a pre-recorded episode, obviously they can't answer live. But the thing that we're doing now is on these pre-recorded episodes, we're taking the questions from the audience and we're posting it in our Facebook group and tagging the experts so they can answer the questions just as usual. So if you do have any questions about today, put them over in the comment sections. And before we did this pre-record, we were able to get Bry Shields, who is actually one of Neil Twa's case studies about turning off your Amazon PPC campaigns. So he's coming on Monday. It's a pre-recorded episode, but he's going to talk about the numbers and exactly what happened. So anyways, we'll get to the wheel of Kelsey. Thank you everyone who entered. And if you are the winner, please email me k@lunchwithnorm.com. And it looks like the winner is Nicholas. All right, so congratulations, Nicholas. I believe I have your information too, so you can email me k@lunchwithnorm.com. Also, any of the members, feel free to email me, let us know, and make sure you join the Facebook group if you have any questions from today's episode, because we're going to be posting over there too. So we have pre-recorded episodes up until next Wednesday. Next Wednesday we'll be back to normal, back to our live episodes. But in the time being, these will be pre-recorded. I'll still be here in the comment sections, and we just have a few more things to round out this episode. So I'll go back to recorded, back when I have a little bit of a beard, and enjoy. Congratulations, whoever that winner is. And Neil, of course, how do people get a hold of you? How do they contact you?
So, last name, you could Google me. It's real easy, or you can go to voltagedm.com if you want to go over and say hi to me there too. Social media, Facebook, look me up, Google my name. I'm all over the place. Hit me up on whatever favorite conversational, medium you want to use. I'm out there. Feel free to reach out to me.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Kelsey, come on back.
All right. And we'll talk to you later, Neil. Thanks again for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Have a great day.
See you later, Neil. All right, sir.
All right. So you guys know the drill. If you haven't already, smash those like buttons. Give us a thumbs up. We really do appreciate it. Also, if you want to do us a big favor, going over to either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, even if you don't listen to podcasts, maybe, you can go over, give us a review and a rating, and that does a whole bunch for the podcast and just rankings and recommended. It just does a lot. It gets us in front of more people. So if you could do anything, that would be something that would mean a lot to us, and we do really appreciate it. And don't forget to join our Lunch with Norm Facebook group. That's Lunch with Norm, Amazon, FBA, and eCommerce Collective. It's a great place to hang out, ask your questions. We've got a little debate happening right now in the Facebook group that I'm interested to get Norm's take on and see. It has to do with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and using those as listings. So anyways, check it out in the Facebook group. It's pretty entertaining. And I hope you guys have a great day. And I think that's it from me.
All right. So thank you for joining us today and joining us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Unfortunately, I can't see any comments right now, but we love our community. We could not do this podcast without you. So thank you for being part of the community, and we will see you soon.
Lunch with Norm.